So, what is the one tip that changed everything for me? As a husband of faith, as a Christian husband, I learned that this principle strengthened my marriage and I believe can be a game changer for you. Now, whether you are a person of faith or not, this applies to everyone who are married, who is in a relationship. Because when I started this principle and started working and practicing this principle, I noticed my wife started to become safer and happier in our relationship. And here's the principle found in Acts chapter 23, verse 14. It reads this: They went to the leading priests and elders and told them, "We have bound ourselves with an oath," and here it is, "to eat nothing until we have killed Paul." You're thinking, what's this have to do about with regards to relationships? Well, the context of this is that Apostle Paul is being held in Roman guard, Roman custody, and is soon to be brought before a council to plead his case of Christianity. However, on his way from being held in custody in the Roman government custody to the council where he was going to plead his case, on his way there were a group of men who vowed to kill Paul and to eat nothing until they accomplished that mission. Now, what does that have to do with our marriages and our relationships? Here it is. As a follower of Jesus, I truly believe that there is an all-out attack in destroying the dynamic, the unit of the marriage. There's an all-out spiritual unseen force attack against relationships and marriages, holding people from staying together, keeping people from staying together, fighting to break marriages apart. John 10:10 says that the enemy comes to steal, to kill, and destroy. And if that is the truth, there's a spiritual demonic realm trying to kill marriages, destroy relationships. And by killing marriages and destroying relationships, the enemy is effectively having to destroy generations of the next generation of families of following Jesus. They're seeding patterns of contempt. They're seeding patterns of destruction. They're seeding patterns of misunderstanding and miscommunication and unforgiveness and resentment. All these things are happening all around us. And I'm not someone who says, it's not happening to me. It's happening in my family. It's happening in your family. It's happening in families across the globe from generations. It's happening. So how do we safeguard our marriages from these spiritual attacks that we can't even see, an enemy that we can't even see? My name is Frank DeGracio. I'm a couples counselor. And if you've really been getting a lot of value from my videos here, would you please help me by liking this video, sharing this with other friends and family members who you feel can benefit from this, and subscribe to my channel. As a Christian counselor, I like to help couples and families to help their relationship go to the next level. So let's talk about this. How do we safeguard our marriages from a spiritual attack, from a spiritual realm that we can't even see? The first thing, I'm going to go practical today to help combat this spiritual principle or the spiritual attack. The first thing is to serve your wife daily. Serve your wife daily. In the Bible, in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25 to 26, I love Ephesians 5 because it talks about all these principles of marriage. And so what we see here in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25 and 26, it says this: "For husbands, this means love your wives, just as Christ loved the church. He gave up his life for her to make her holy and clean, washed by the cleansing of God's word." Isn't that powerful? It says there in that verse to love your wives. How? Just as Christ loved the church. And what did Jesus do for the church? He served the church on a daily basis. For the 33 years that he's walked this planet, and during that time he walked this planet, he served. He washed the disciples' feet. He brought healing to those who were in exile. He went to encourage. He went to comfort. He went to prophesy. He did all these things. He served. He was even a carpenter, right? He served through the skills and the gifts and everything that he has, every his being, the way he touched, the way he loved, the way he looked at people, the way he spoke to people. He simply came to seek and to serve, right? He served her. And here's what that means for us, for you and I as men, as husbands, as those with in a relationship. This means we need to serve our spouse. I need to serve my wife by engaging with her more. By engaging with her more. I need to serve my wife by taking responsibility for my part as the leader of the household, as a marriage, as and having to serve her the needs that she communicates to me. She may say, I need a hug. I'll give her a hug. She may start talking and sharing about her day. I need to listen. I need to be attentive. I need to turn towards her instead of having to show that I'm distracted. I need to serve my wife on a daily basis. How are you serving your wife today? How are you serving? In fact, in the comments below, what are some things, some practical things that you would recommend and suggest to other guys here that could, and how they could practically, simply serve their wife? We're not trying to be so complex here, but it's really see the need and meet the need, right? See the need and meet the need. Hear a hurt and heal their hurt. As men, we're called to help our spouses in ways that will serve her. By serving her, it draws and bridges a relationship of connection to our wife. Number one, serve your wife daily. The second thing is to date your wife weekly. Date your wife weekly. See, part of loving our wife is taking the time to romance her simply. I go back to that verse in Ephesians 5, verse 25. It just says they're to love the church. Jesus Christ loved the church. Part of loving our wives is to date her. Go back to those times when you when you first met her, the things that you did to woo her, the things that you did to get her attention, the things that you did that she fell in love with you. Now, I'm not talking about being fancy. I'm talking about being flirty. I'm not talking about finding all the nice, buying all the nice things and the latest and greatest in the whatever. If you, I didn't buy Julie jewelry. She ain't that kind of girl. She's a simple gal. But I'm not talking about being fancy in having to go out to the expensive dates and the weekend getaways and the all these expensive gifts. I'm not talking about that. I'm not going fancy. I'm talking about being flirty. I'm talking about having to encourage her, say nice things about her, tell her how beautiful she is to you, tell her how much you love her, you adore her, you are just in love with her. Come on. We need to date our wives again. Now, this again, when I say fancy, flirty, not fancy, I mean going simple. Not everyone has an amazing budget. Not everyone has a crazy budget to take her to these nice places to eat. I'm talking about simple. If you're like me, I've got kids. I got 4 boys, and so it requires finding a babysitter. There's going to be some cost behind this to find a babysitter or one of your parents or somebody who can just watch the kids for a few hours. And what this simple looks like is having to probably, like for me, in the beginnings of our marriage and even to today, we go to a kind of an affordable restaurant or even taking her to ice cream. What it is, it's not about the eating. And I know food is one of those things that brings people together closer. So that's awesome. But that doesn't mean it has to be $100 meal for each person. It could be ice cream. It could be going to getting a picnic basket or putting some food in the cooler and then going to the beach and going to the park. And where we live, there's a beautiful park. There's a lot of nice parks here, and we just go to the park and we just sit and eat. We go to the beach and we sit and eat. We talk, and in Hawaii we call it talk stories. We talk stories with one another, and we just hang out. Or maybe having the kids go to the babysitter and you stay at home with you and your wife and you put on a good movie and you get some popcorn and you just enjoy each other's company, watch a movie with you and her, because movies can be expensive, right? It'd be very expensive actually, because you don't just think about the ticket, you gotta get the popcorn and then you gotta get the food out. It's just a lot. It's very expensive. I get it. Like I said, I live in Hawaii. It is the most expensive state in the nation. As at the time of this recording, hopefully not in the future, but it gets expensive. And so we're going simple, guys. I'm talking about simple, because I really believe you can have a healthy marriage on a simple budget, right? And so date your wife weekly. And the last thing, as you serve your wife daily, as you date your wife weekly, is accountability with your wife frequently. Accountability with your wife frequently. James chapter 5 verse 16 says this: therefore, confess your sins to one another and pray for one another so that you may be healed. The effective prayer of a righteous man accomplishes much. This is talking about keeping each other in check. This is talking about helping each other, sharing with each other, and having to say, babe, this is where I need your support in. This is where I need your help with. This is where I need you to keep me accountable in. In attachment science, in relationship, attachment science 101 basically talks about how we are able to heal the internal battles of our mind, the internal battles of our heart, the internal battles of our soul. How? Through healthy relationships. Healthy relationships where you can feel secure, you can feel safe with one another, in the sense where you're able to share heart to heart. This is what I'm struggling with. This is why I'm upset with you. We're able to do this dance. In emotion focused therapy, a lot of it is alluded to in the analogy and the picture of a dance. Dr. Sue Johnson was a tango. She loved tango. And she talked about having to do this dance with one another, dancing. And even when there's friction, even when there's disagreements, even when there's conflict, we're able to draw closer to each other and be able to share the hurts, be able to share the conflict, able to share those things that has been hurting both of us. And that's beautiful. And so when we're able to support our wife, and our wife is to support us by staying accountable with each other, it's a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing. And so I want to share more on how to build and strengthen your relationship with your wife in this next video. How to build and strengthen that relationship with her. If you just kind of stay tuned, watch this video, and follow me as I talk to you more about that topic. All right, see you there.